All right, this is part one of my recap for the Stormlight Archive, starting with The Way of Kings. I'll be making each of these videos 10 minutes long, and no, I don't know how many they're going to be yet. I'm going to try and be succinct, but also cover everything you'd want to know, the important details, the lore, and also just the drama, the tea. So yeah, let's start off with Little Light, Death, and Destruction. So the prelude starts 4,500 years in the past, and we start with a character named Kalak, and he's basically looking around at the aftermath of some horrific battle. There are like monstrous creatures that are dead, there are humans that are dead, and to his surprise, he's not dead. Because apparently, this like Armageddon level battle is called a desolation, and he has survived and died through these desolations in the past. These are brought on by dust bringers. We don't really know more than that. But we do learn that Kalek and 9 other like godlike beings are called heralds. It's kind of inferred that they are, their purpose is to help humanity live through these desolation events. But what kind of sucks for them is, as heroic as that sounds, in between these desolation events, they get to hang out in some like hell dimension of pain and fire. This is basically what he doesn't want to go back to. It sounds like if you die, you automatically go back there. If you live, you are supposed to, by what's called the Oath Pact, go there on your own. Now, he doesn't want to do that, and apparently neither do the other heralds, because he walks, away a little bit and runs into Jezrien, who is the king of heralds, and he gives Kalek the lowdown that the others don't want to do this anymore, and one unfortunate, soul of them, one of them died, and he's already in this place, and they're thinking they're gonna dip on him. Essentially, homie's gonna hold it down, maybe. So they all put their swords in the ground. There's one sword missing for the one herald that did die. And they're gonna kind of put it all on his shoulders because they can't do it anymore. Um, do they think this is actually gonna work? No. In Kalek's mind, he's thinking this isn't gonna stop him. We don't know who he is, presumably the big bad, who's really behind the desolations. But Jezrien tries to give him a little cope by saying, hey, the humans have, the Radiants. We don't know what those are, presumably powerful beings, but not as powerful as heralds. And yeah, they go. They just dip. So now we gotta see what's gonna happen. Here's some art from the leather-bound edition of the heralds leaving their swords in the ground. And now let's move on to the prologue. Zeth, Sun Villano, truthless of Shinovar, wore white on the day he was to kill a king. That line never gets old. That's how we open the prologue, and it is in fact a promise. From this point on, Zeth will be known as the Assassin in White because he does kill the king. So instead of just recanting all the action in this prologue, I want to talk mostly about what we learn from it. So we are in the middle of a celebration because the Alethi people and the Parshendi have signed a treaty. Now, the interesting thing about that is that Zeth is there to assassinate the Alethi king, and the people who sent him are the Parshendi. Zeth doesn't know why, we certainly don't know why, and when he does kill Gavilar, the king of the Alethi people, Gavilar is also surprised by this. So something interesting I wanted to note is that when Zeth is kind of walking through to find the king, he walks past these statues of the heralds, which apparently are part of Vorin theology, ancient Vorin theology, which is a religion that the Alethi people follow. But one of these statues is missing. Shalashes, apparently. You would think, is this the same one that was missing from the prelude? But in the prelude, it was Talinel who was missing. So we don't know, or I personally can't remember if this is a name mix up or what, but I just wanted to mention that little tidbit. We also learned that Zeth is something called truthless, which we gather just means he is like bound to follow the orders of his masters. He doesn't want to be here killing the king, but he can't not do it. And he also can't just end himself because that is also forbidden. We also get a lesson in how Zeth is manipulating Stormlight, and we learn about lashing. So there's 3 types of lashing. There's a basic lashing, which is how he's able to kind of redirect like the center of gravity. So he's able to make, the wall next to him be the ground. So that's how he runs on, surfaces that he shouldn't be able to, and also how he can send a man like flying down a hallway by essentially making him fall, even though that to anybody looking, it just doesn't make sense. There's a full lashing, which kind of binds objects together or just reinforces things. Like when he's running from the guards, he does a full lashing on the door, and it basically makes it like 100 men are holding the door closed, and that does drain more stormlight faster. And then a reverse lashing, he has to be holding on to it, but he can like pull objects or people towards what he's doing the reverse lashing on. Now we also learn about shard blades and shard plate. Apparently shard blades are thought of as a gift from the gods that were given to the Knights Radiant of ancient times to help fight the Void Bringers, which are supposed to be beings of like stone and fire. And that's why these shard blades can cut through literally anything, stone, people, whatever. When they kill people, though, you don't get the gore that you would from a regular weapon. It just kills the person, or like if it hits someone's arm, the arm is just dead. Now, shard plate can't be passed through with a shard blade, but you can damage the shard plate and break it. So when Zeth is fighting with Gavilar, Gavilar is wearing shard plate, and it's basically just like super reinforced. I almost think of like a mech suit, but it just makes him stronger, faster, and able to withhold, hits from a blade that would otherwise kill, someone not wearing it. And then we come to the death of the king. So Zeth is fighting with Gavilar, who is in a full shard plate. He's a very accomplished fighter. He almost does get the better of Zeth, but Zeth can wield Stormlight. So they are fighting on a balcony, and Zeth uses his lashings to crumble the balcony while he is able to, safely stick to the wall while Gavilar falls down. He doesn't die, but he is wounded, and then Zeth finishes the job. Gavilar seems to have expected somebody to be killing him, but he doesn't expect it to be an assassin sent by the Parshendi. He's confused by that. He tells him, you can tell Thydakar that he's too late. I don't know who that is. Zeth doesn't know who that is. And Dalinar pulls out this little sphere that's like got this strange black light in it. And he tells Zeth to take it. And he tells Zeth to basically say, tell my brother he must find the most important words a man can say. We don't know what that means. Zeth doesn't know what that means, but it is like sacred to his people, the Shin, to, share last words. So he writes a message for the king's brother, Dalinar, to read, but he does pocket the sphere. And that's it. That's the end of the prologue. Zeth does escape into the night. And then we move on to part one. Now, as I move through the rest of the book, I'm not going to go into super detail of every single chapter unless it's necessary. I just wanted to dive deep into the prelude and prologue because those are, the foundation for the rest of the series. So for part one, we're jumping into two POVs. We have Kaladin, our main male character, and we have Shallan, our main female character.